In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at what happened in the June 12th primary, specifically in the Senate races. 4 of the 5 states that casted ballots yesterday did so in Senate primaries. We're going to take a look at those in Maine, Virginia, North Dakota, and Nevada, give our analysis on the primary results, and then also give our take on who we feel has the better chance to go on and win these Senate seats as we head closer to the midterm election. So starting off here in the state of Maine, which wasn't all that interesting. The Democrat and Republican both ran unopposed, but both of these candidates are going to have a big uphill battle, and I expect both of them to come up well short against the incumbent independent Senator Angus King, who's popular in his home state. He's got that incumbency advantage. Also, he caucuses with the Democrats, which helps him in Maine, which tends to be a little bit more of a Democrat-leaning state. And I'm not even sure why the Democrats would run against Angus King in this scenario. It's just going to siphon off some of his votes and maybe give the Republican a better chance than he might otherwise have. But still, once we hit this election, definitely expect Angus King to keep his Senate seat in Maine, and he'll continue to caucus with the Democrats. Moving on to the state of Virginia, and Republicans are going to have a big uphill battle in this state going against incumbent Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine, popular again in his home state here of Virginia, ran in 2016 as the vice president, which increases his name recognition, his notoriety, and definitely helps him out going into his re-election bid. The Republican primary, we see it was pretty competitive there between the top 2 candidates, Corey Stewart coming out on top, 304,000 votes cast, and I looked at the past 2 Senate election cycles in the state of Virginia, and unfortunately no primary data we had on the Republican side, so we can't compare this to historical data to see if the Republicans had better turnout than you would typically expect. But if Corey Stewart can get this within about 10 percentage points, I would say that that would be considered a success against somebody like a Tim Kaine, who is the incumbent, and like I said, running as the 2016 vice president only helps him out coming into his re-election bid. So we look for this one to definitely go in the Democrats' direction and stay on their side with Tim Kaine in what can be a purple state in Virginia, but is tending to be trending in a more blue direction as we head through the years, especially more recently. So now we're going to go on to what are some more competitive races. Starting off here in the state of North Dakota, the Democrats have the incumbency advantage with Heidi Heitkamp. The last time she ran in 2012 was a presidential year, which might have helped her out. Very competitive race. She was just able to get over the line and win. So she has the incumbency advantage this time around, and she's going to be going against a tough challenger here, Kevin Cramer, who went on to win this one rather convincingly. Only 69,000 people turned out in this Republican primary, and I say only because we look at the last Senate primary, which was in 2016, and you can see 104,000 votes were cast on the Republican side, so a reduction of 35,000 votes. Not a great number there, and you'll say, well, 2016 was a presidential year. That's true, but we didn't have a Republican primary on the presidential ticket here in the state of North Dakota, so that's diminished to some extent. So not great turnout there in this Republican primary, so maybe that's a positive sign for Heitkamp. I see this one as almost being a 50-50. I might even give a slight lean over to Kevin Cramer because he does have a bit of name recognition across the state of North Dakota. And North Dakota obviously is a more red-leaning Republican state, especially when we look back at how well Donald Trump did, for instance. And Heitkamp, more of a corporate Democrat. I would say a populist Democrat would probably do better in a state like North Dakota because when we look back at the 2016 Democratic primary, Bernie Sanders absolutely blew out Hillary Clinton. And I would say Heitkamp is more in that Hillary Clinton mold, certainly, in comparison to someone like a Bernie Sanders who would probably have a better shot. So at the end of the day, just because Heitkamp is the incumbent, that gives her a lot of advantages, but Kevin Cramer going to be very competitive here, and I would be actually a little bit surprised if Heitkamp was able to keep this seat at the end of the day, even though it is going to be very close. I give the slight edge right now to Cramer in a very Republican state like North Dakota, but you look at these northern plain states, for whatever reason, they can have really strong election results for Republicans, but then every once in a while you'll see a senator or a governor, for instance, go on and win a statewide election as a Democrat. So not completely out of the realm of possibility for Heitkamp to keep this seat, but definitely going to be keeping our eyes on this one. I can't wait to get more polling data so I can do a bit more of an analysis on how this race might play itself out. But again, I have this one slightly leaning towards the Republicans at this point in time. And now going to probably the most interesting result and that's going to be the Democrat and Republican primary that we had in the state of Nevada. This is a state where Democrats feel like they have a great shot at flipping it over to their side, and we can see that here even in the primary results. So Democrats, 143,000 votes, and then on the Republican side, 142,000 votes, so very similar. In these primaries, you tend to get a little bit different of a voter demographic. It tends to be a little bit older, which also tends to be a bit more of a conservative vote. So the fact that the Democrats already had more voter turnout here in the primary is a very good sign for them. And another great sign is that Jackie Rosen, 110,000 votes, and the incumbent who has all the name recognition coming into these primaries, only 99,000 votes. So Rosen already an 11,000 vote lead over the Republican, and the fact that the Democrats had more voter turnout is great signs for them in the state of Nevada. So at this point, we're giving the lean to Jackie Rosen, the challenger, over incumbent Dean Heller. We had that lean coming into this primary, and these voting numbers only confirm that. Nevada went for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. It's a state that's becoming more and more blue as the years go on, as their demographics shift a little bit. So with all that being the case, again, going to be a very interesting election, but Jackie Rosen definitely having the advantage at this point, just looking at these numbers, especially in a state like Nevada that's trending in a blue direction. So that's going to wrap things up here, guys. We touched on the 4 states that had Senate primaries. Some interesting stuff there, especially in the state of Nevada. And after this, I'm going to be making a video on some of the more competitive congressional districts and how the vote turned out in those. So if you want, you can check that out as well. So thanks for stopping on in, guys. We hope to see you back here for future videos. Bye.